Oh, hello. Thank you for tuning in, pressing play for 100 Theatre Women vlog number 2, from numbers 25 to 50. Actually, 26 to 50. Who's the first one? Me! The first one is Erica Wyman. Now, I picked Erica Wyman. I think she's very interesting. She's very pragmatic, but she's very open. She's interested. I first met her when she was still at Northern Stage, and the first thing I saw was her direction of Oh, What a Lovely War. Mm-hmm. And she was inspirational to me because I thought she was so detailed, and yet she seemed so interested, and I have really high hopes for her time, obviously, at the RSC, and yeah, I just really liked her. I liked her work, I liked her vision, I liked her openness, and yeah, that's why she was on the list.
My number 27 is Debbie Tucker-Green. She was not, I knew of her, but I hadn't really seen much of her work until I saw this year at the National Theatre at the Shed, Nut. She's an extraordinary voice, a fabulous poet, and I think is really writing about where we're living now at the moment. And I think she's a brilliant Renaissance woman, and just love what she was saying.
Tamsin Griffin
Yes.
for
I do know Tamsin.
You know Tamsin?
Yeah, I do.
For Shock-Headed Peter,
Yeah,
which I loved.
Yeah.
She was dangerous. She was wild. She was wacky. She had the audience on edge, and I thought she was wonderful. Yeah, there was a real edge to her. And then afterwards, I saw her. This isn't theatre, but I saw her. She was the Teletubbies. It's like the storytelling lady,
yeah,
and she had the same sort of "I might bite you" thing about her, which is just mesmerising. So hurrah for Tamsin Griffin.
Right, now I don't need to do it twice. My next choice, my number 29, is Tusita Jaya Sunderer, known as Tus, and she has a lovely luminous quality. She is seemingly on stage very ego-free. She's graceful and gentle and delicate, and known for a lot of television series that she's done, but I think she's a fantastic theatre woman.
My next one was Jayne D, who is an all-round amazing actress. I wasn't going to say amazing. I've said amazing. It's the last time I say amazing. She's an all-round actress, a triple threat. She's so warm on stage. She's so passionate about creating new work and working on new pieces and working with new people. Considering her extraordinary experience and the breadth of her range, she's so open to learning new things, and she's so humble. I admire her so much. And also all the work she does behind the scenes for theatrical charities. She works so hard and is such an all-round theatre woman. So yes, I find her very inspirational.
My number 31 is April De Angelis, a very fine writer. But there are many very good female writers, playwrights at the moment. But I did choose her for our list because she wrote a play called Playhouse Creatures, which is all about the early British actresses. And I feel that she was celebrating something that we are also trying to celebrate, and that's why I wanted to include her.
My number 32 is Etta Murph, who is a dancer with Adventures in Motion Pictures, Matthew Bourne's company, and now New Adventures. I first saw her in The Carman. I first became aware it was her in The Carman at the Old Vic, although I had seen Swan Lake and other things before that they'd done. I find her dancing to be very expressive, very emotional, very human. She moves beautifully. She really tells a story with her movements, and every time I've seen her work, she's moved me. There's something very special, quite enigmatic about the way she dances, and something so open and heartbreaking about the way she communicates to the audience and to the other performers. So she's stuck in my mind for a long time.
My next choice was Sarah Siddons. I've always found her a little bit scary. She, I believe, brought respectability to the acting profession, not something that I particularly approve of. But when I was working in the Garrick Theatre in a farce called When Did You Last See Your ... Trousers, I went into the Charing Cross Road and I bought myself a silk copy of that famous painting, I can't remember who painted it now, of Sarah Siddons, in a dark frame. It was very gloomy and very serious. And I had it in my dressing room for a year, and I felt that if I kept on looking as serious as Sarah Siddons, that I too may be respectable.
Number 34 is Sonya Ritter. Particularly I was thinking of her from her work with the Lion's Part, and with her own company she wrote a play called Land Girls, or devised a play called Land Girls. I find her, again, another very enigmatic person on stage, and yet very open. She's very calm, she's very thoughtful, her work is very detailed, and I think her passion for celebrating old stories from her work with the Lion's Part, as well as her passion for women's work, getting these stories of the Land Girls out. I've saw the show twice, actually. The first time it went on tour and the second time it went on tour, and the recognition in the audience was palpable, and it felt very moving to be there. And I think she's, again, another very intelligent, creative, thoughtful woman.
My next choice is the fantastic Anne-Marie Duff. It's sort of come a bit full circle for me, because the role that I wanted to think of her for in the 100 Theatre Women was Nina in Strange Interlude by Eugene O'Neill, which I saw last year. She was completely mesmerising, but also effortless. I had seen Glenda Jackson do it all those years previously, and she was my first choice. And it's 5 hours long, this show, and she was, at the end of it, she was as fresh and wonderful and mesmerising and energetic as she has been at the beginning. So thank you, Anne-Marie Duff.
Number 36 is Rebecca Morden, who's the creator and artistic director of Scary Little Girls Theatre Company, which is a feminist theatre company that does matrifocal work and works on promoting and telling women's stories. I first worked with Becca when we were asked to put together some suffragette theatre for a book launch at the Orange Tree, actually, in 2008. And I found her formidable, intriguing, interesting, wonderfully supportive. She just such an all-round sort of radical feminist, and everything I've done with her, I've worked with her now in cabaret and comedy as well as with theatre, and everything I've done with her, she has such integrity and such passion, such experience and such range. I've learnt so much from her as a feminist and as a woman and as a performer. And she's a joy. She's got all sort of the history and all the she's totally clued up on everything, and yet she's such a wonderful performer as well. So she covers so much, and she always inspires me. And whenever I send her emails going, "Ooh, why don't we do this obscure thing about this?" I go, "Oh yes, let's meet and talk about that." And I ran a workshop for her at the Feminism in London conference last year about not apologising for being a woman in public space. And I thought I'd do that a lot, so I just tried to pretend to be Becca.
Yeah, it's always good to pretend to be someone else.
Because she doesn't, and I aspire to that.
Yeah, it's good.
Thank you, Rebecca Morden.
My next choice is the fabulous theatre designer, Bunny Christie. For her longevity, for her simple, clean, beautiful designs, I'm choosing Streetcar Named Desire, because it just looked absolutely beautiful and clean and lovely. And she's been working for so many years, and she never as far as I can see, puts a foot wrong. Bunny Christie.
Hetty King, a male impersonator, a bit like, well, one of the sort of breed like Mr. Tilly from the Edwardian era, who you can see, if you Google Hetty King, you can see videos of her on YouTube. There's a sort of documentary about her.
Fantastic.
Just wonderful.
I did. I'd never heard of her.
Oh, just wonderful.
She's fabulous.
And just a real glimpse. I never saw her on stage, but a real glimpse of that, the sort of the tropes of the era. She rolls a cigarette with one hand, which obviously was a big thing, and just her elegance. There's some videos of her from the 1930s as well. Her elegance and her passion. There's a Desert Island Discs episode with Hetty King talking about her work in the theatre and how she saved up to buy her first suit, have her first suit made, because she wanted to go on stage and perform in this way. And so two things. Google the Desert Island Discs, Hetty King, and have a look at her things on YouTube. A real theatre woman who kept doing what she was doing really right up and long into her 80s, I think.
Wonderful. And very loudly, I want to introduce my next choice, which is Sylvia Sims. I did a course when I just started, left drama school, at the Actors Centre, run by Sylvia Sims. I think it was called Danger, or Danger in the Theatre or something. And we were all expecting this just little starlet, I suppose, but of course she'd become a more mature woman with a whole lot to say. She is committed, passionate, political. She started off the workshop, all of us sitting around sheepishly looking at her, by hurling herself on the floor and battering her arms and crying and wailing with all her entire body. And then she stood up and said to all 20 of us, right, if you're not prepared to do this, then you might as well all fuck off now and get out of this business. And I keep that with me at every time, keep it with me all, as much as I can. Because if you're not prepared to wail and scream, you're obviously not going to do that all the time, but it's being able to actually say, I will surrender and I will let go. Years passed and I saw her again at the Actors Centre just this Christmas at the So-and-So Arts Club. It was a play reading by Kate Locke. She was playing a blind old age pensioner in a play reading at 9:30 in the morning. She had a chest infection. Her children had told her that she shouldn't be even out, let alone doing this play reading. But she did the play reading. She carried on. I don't know how old she is. I expect in her late 70s, early 80s. I'm not sure. But she did this production and a performance with as much commitment as I saw those 30 years previously. Sylvia Sims, I salute you.
I'd also like to salute Bobby Baker, who is an extraordinary performance artist and performer, woman, thinker, doer, achiever. Her work is challenging, it's exciting, it's thought-provoking, it feels sometimes uncomfortable, but it always feels real, it always feels very human, it always feels very necessary. I think she's a one-off Bobby Baker, and we're very lucky to have her and to witness her work.
My next choice is the theatre maker and director Kirsty Housley. Kirsty is deeply trendy. She's deeply inventive, resourceful. She run the Etc. for a while. I believe she's had work on at the Young Vic and at Hampstead. But the play that I saw most recently that I loved that she directed was called Thirsty, which was about teenage binge drinking. Not educational particularly, that wasn't the premise of the tour. But it was beautifully written, beautifully staged. And she is very unsung, Kirsty, and I hope may she continue to carry on doing the fabulous work that she's doing and get a whole lot more respect.
My next choice is Maureen Lipman. First came across her because my mum had all her books where she told funny stories, and I was glued to these books. I used to read them and reread them, and to imagine that I was a middle-aged Jewish woman telling these stories at a dinner party, it all sounded so fantastic. And then when I got to see her, I was just inspired by her commitment and her creativity. Rejoice, particularly, and I met her a couple of times. I found her to be very witty, quite acerbic. I'm quite wary of her, but I so admire her passion, her creativity, her energy, her humour, and yes, I find her a total inspiration, actually.
This next choice is all a bit spooky. I'd been told by my sister that she'd attended a reading of Sarah Daniels' work, new play called Hungry. Fast forward 2 months, I get a call asking me if I would like to do it. I'm currently touring in this play. Her emotional truth is so extraordinary. This is a play about childhood obesity that we're taking around schools all around England. I have sat in school halls, theatres, art centres, where in total silence, where they are transported by this play. She's written something that is so robust that no amount of outside noise, sweet wrappers, anything like that, nothing can interrupt the force of this story. And she is a very fine theatre woman. Thank you, Sarah Daniels.
My next choice was Indira Bressingham, particularly for the Women, Power and Politics series in 2010, which I attended both the Now and the Then plays, and just thought they were such a brave thing to do, and again showed a lot of passion and interest. And I suppose put it on and they will come, and we came. Thank you for that. 2 wonderful evenings at the Tricycle. Thank you.
My next choice is the fabulous Cathy Burke, who I had the real fortune to see in Amongst Barbarians at the Royal Exchange. It was written by a friend of mine, who sadly died, called Michael Wall. And she was just hilarious and magnificent in it. Recently, last week, when I was touring Liverpool, I was on a train and a woman got on with her boyfriend, and she was a bit drunk, but she'd had a most fantastic afternoon at the theatre. And I got chatting to her, and she said that she had been to see, once Catholic, that she had had the best afternoon of her life, and that Cathy Burke is her hero. Well, she's mine too. Thank you, Cathy Burke.
Brilliant. My next choice for 100 Theatre Women is an actress called Kate Graham, who is a stalwart of West End theatre. I first met her when I was dressing on Producers, and since then she never stops working. She's Billy Elliot, and then she's been on tour in Mamma Mia. She's currently in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I chose her because she is one of those people who is just so well known in the West End. She's so consistent. She's a fantastic company member, which is a skill, especially on long-running shows. Yeah. Always does a brilliant job. Lovely actress, lovely singer, lovely dancer. She's just somebody that I wish was, on top billing for every show. And there's so many people in the West End who work and are very, very lucky to be doing that. But they really prop up these shows, and the amount of talent just at the tip of her fingers, and her wonderful company membership. I admire her. I've always admired her. Kate Graham.
My next choice is Leslie Sharp. This is really for her 30 years of achievement. Leslie and I were at Guildhall together. This is quite a short story. But so my particular choice of performance that I want to celebrate is when we did our second year showing of Three Sisters. And I was cast as Olga, and I thought, I'm going to be marvellous. And they said, but I'm afraid we need a volunteer to be a man. And Leslie very cleverly said, I'll be a man. I, of course, was, 20 and I just didn't want to be a man. But Leslie said she would be a man. And she played Chibutkin. She played it like sort of a very old Ian McKellen. Well, I suppose like Ian McKellen is now. And it was the funniest, most passionate and sad and wonderful thing I have ever seen. And I now know that really it's probably better to play Chibutkin than any of the other three sisters. Well, Chibutkin isn't one of the three sisters, but you know what I mean. So thank you, Leslie.
Number 48 is the playwright Abby Morgan. I chose her because I think her work, again, is very brave and very bold. She really looks at tackling issues and things. She's not afraid to tackle new issues and get her teeth into material and really try and look at what makes people tick. I think she's a fantastic writer. I think, again, we're very lucky to have her. Abby Morgan, thank you.
My next choice, I feel very sad about saying that she died when she was 41. She was a friend of mine from youth theatre, and that is Catherine Cartledge. I saw her at the Royal Court quite a few times over the years, and but I'm celebrating a performance that she did when we were at youth theatre together today, and that is her as Juliet in Romeo and Juliet. You've never seen anything so extraordinary in your life. It was electric, it was passionate and very sexy and rude and everything that you hope that Juliet will be. So, Catherine, love you.
And our 50th Theatre Woman, I chose Ling Gardener, who's a critic at The Guardian.
We like critics.
I really enjoy her blog posts. I think she's curious. She's interested. She says, email me and I'll try and come to things. Tweet me and I'll try and come to things. She does travel. She does go for a small thing. She goes for a new thing. She goes for all sorts of stuff. And she thinks carefully and deeply about what she's writing about. And she invites debate. And she's there. I check the Guardian stage
and a lot of lesser known work. Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're right.
Women's writing as well. She champions. Goes anywhere, which, let's face it, not a lot of people.
No, when you look at the critics, you think, oh gosh, we can just be these people, and you feel that she
goes to read
to sit through so many shows or stand, who knows what, and then still be so open and thoughtful and passionate and creative herself, because she writes children's books herself. I admire her. And we're lucky to have her. I'm being a lot of lucky today. Last vlog it was amazing. Today it's lucky. They're not two terrible words, are they? Thank you for sitting through our 100 Theatre Women vlog part 2, numbers 26 to 50. And I hope you've been enjoying them and retweeting them. Please do add your own in the comments below or on my blog or on Twitter yourself with the hashtag 100 Theatre Women. And we'll see you next time.